Hey everybody, welcome to episode 156 of It's Just Bodybuilding. Scott McNally, Dusty Hanshaw, myself, Ron Partlow, and on today's show, Jamie, aka the Giant Christian, on It's Just Bodybuilding. I told you guys a story about when I went to Rich Piana's house and he had a shotgun behind the door.
Nice. And yeah. I didn't hear that story. Yeah, you should tell that one day soon. I got to hear that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then a couple of handguns on the kitchen table, just sitting on the kitchen table.
It's another world to the UK. Bloody hell.
Yeah. A couple boxes of ammo. There was a Chrome 45.
Nice.
And a Beretta.
Nice. Yeah. Because you never know if you might need two. You know what I'm saying? Like one for each.
Yeah. Well, there's a certain thing that you need a 9mm for, and a certain thing you need a 45 for.
Different tools for different jobs, eh?
Right? I mean, you never know. You never know what's at the front door. Yeah. It might be a 45 job. You know? Yeah. It might be a 45 job. Yeah.
Get a gun for the off season. Gun for prep. We need to bring out the big guns. God. Are we recording? Because I've got a decent question to start some conversation.
We did. We are. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We have to have gotten all of that.
Yes.
Okay.
I was going to say, it just seems on Instagram at the minute like all the bodybuilders are going at each other. Did you see? First of all, I think it was meant in jest, but Antoine versus Iain.
Yeah. Well, I saw Iain post on his story today that him and Antoine are absolutely cool and they're just having fun.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
So then there was Iain. Was it Iain versus Blessing? That seemed a little bit less cool.
That seemed less cool.
I didn't see that. What was the deal?
Did not see a post saying that they were cool.
No. Yeah. Maybe Frosty, but not cool.
Yeah. Frosty probably a bit for sure.
So for me and anybody else that doesn't know exactly what this was, what was the scenario?
Well, I don't totally know. I just saw that there was like bodybuilders that like a couple people like that I know.
Yeah.
Like, you know, guys, it was like, you know, one dude that I know from the gym really well. He was like in there adding to the beat down or like on Valaire's, you know, on Team Ian, right?
Okay.
But there's a bunch of people hopping in and I noticed that I even knew a few of them.
Yeah. I think,
and I was like, this is like the fans are like in on this. Like they're like, you don't talk to Ian Valaire that way.
for your reference, Scott, I think it started off by Blessing. You posted saying that Brandon Curry is his ideal physique, but he's going to win one more Olympia, and then it's his turn because basically shape wins.
Okay.
So Ian's come out and said that's why they've got a class called Classic. Muscle wins. This is bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And that's how it started off.
Okay, and then they just went from there.
Yeah.
Kicked off big time.
So I
like
gave myself,
off, as you guys say.
I indulged. I did indulge, but I gave myself like a 60-second time limit to just scan comments. So I didn't fully, you know what I mean? Like I'll do a little bit of the drugs, but I don't want to be like an addict. And
you didn't want to get invested.
Yeah. I want to put my phone down, and I kind of don't really want to know the full story because then you know there's a problem.
Yeah.
Then you have to have an opinion at that point.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it made me think about something else today because you've got those two storylines, and then you've got the Crizzo versus Nick Walker narrative. And there's a few other ones. And then there's Andrew Jatt in the media quite heavily. And I know why they do it, because it's very, very influential on their placings almost, because they're getting publicity before they even step on stage. So what do we think to that? Does profile matter before you go to stage? Hello, Dusty.
Hello. Glad you guys finally made it.
I gotta say, I'm really happy with the color scheme. You know me. We got red. This is great.
A lot going on here.
Yeah.
I'm just playing.
And then I gotta also quickly mention, like, share, subscribe, comment, ring the bell.
Ding, ding.
There we go.
And comment with questions for the Q&A episodes.
True.
There we go. What is this, episode 155? 156.
6, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. You can put the number up.
Yes. Give or take.
Doesn't matter. And of course, Jamie the Giant joining us. And we also have to add, the Rockstar haircut. We actually, I think we assigned you as the bass player of our all-star bodybuilder band.
We did.
I think we made you the bass player. We thought you would be like, because you're so huge and you'd be back there just,
I didn't even know. That's why I put the bandana on, obviously.
Yeah. So no, you kind of like it's funny that you show up looking like,
like a bass player.
Like a homeless bass player.
Yeah. There we go.
Cool.
So your question, does profile matter? So you mean in the plate, like when it comes day of the show, does profile matter? I think that Arnold proved,
because leading into
that.
the show. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Arnold proved that profile matters when he won the 1980 Olympia.
Let's also look a little closer. When Dana won the Olympia, not to say she didn't deserve it, but had she not won, I'm pretty sure the fans would have torn the auditorium apart.
Yeah.
So I was there and I was like, y'all don't really have a choice here. I mean, she deserves it, but you don't really have a choice.
Yeah.
Right. Just like, you mean overwhelming crowd, like.
Listen, I can't remember who the girl that took second was, but her mom was screaming Dana at the side.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So she wrote.
Yeah. How do you feel about it, Jamie?
I wish I need to do something to get some press. Start some shit.
Hey, I think Louis C.K. has already dealt with this. Gay sex tape. That's go all the way.
Right. Grab the melons. Well, the wife's away, so I've got plenty of space for activities.
There you go. I like that we're calling them activities. Ron just said that to me yesterday when I sent my video.
Yeah.
It's British. It's very British.
I think I was thinking about Step Brothers earlier because when me and Ron was in FIBO, I don't know why I was thinking this from before I got in the shower, by the way. I was thinking about every morning.
To this whole gay sex thing.
Yeah. And I thought, fuck, I think Ron actually likes coffee just as much as me. And then there's that bit in Step Brothers where they look at each other and say, did we just become best friends?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Probably why it was on the runs.
Coffee was equally important to both of us. I do remember that.
Oh, God.
Very important.
Coffee is life.
Yes.
And cigars, Dusty. But I need to sample some of those with you.
Oh, we got you. We got you covered here shortly. Are you? When's your next trip to the States?
It's in 2 weeks on Wednesday, believe it or not.
Okay, I was verifying if that was I saw it. I'm like, so you got to make that trip for like a short little. I mean, I understand you traveling this far to see me, but like you got to see Ron also. It just kind of washes,
I think it makes a lot of sense. It breaks up. And I get to see Milos in person, so that would be very beneficial, I think.
Oh, that'd be very cool too.
Not to mention, I get to see certain people, that I like to catch up with.
Yeah, I don't want to name any names, but Jim.
I don't know whether is a certain trip allowed to be common knowledge because it's only a trip.
Well, the trip is acceptable. Yes. Yeah. We're doing a little mutant get together. That's a thing. Cool. We're doing some videos.
Yeah.
We don't have anything current of any of us training together. So like I did some footage on my own. Jamie's done some on his own. Ron obviously does it all the time. Drea is joining, so it's going to be a good time. We're going to get all of us together and do some footage. Hopefully she doesn't kill any of us, and we'll be good to go.
Just don't train legs with her. You'll be okay.
You know, that's exactly what I want to do.
Yeah, right.
Like, I've already decided, well, if this is why I'm going to die, that's fine. I just want to know what it's like.
Yeah.
Perfect. Don't dare nick a Brussels sprouts as well. She'll go crazy.
Yeah, we learned that at a dinner at the Arnold, Scott. She's very protective of Brussels sprouts.
No kidding. Out of all food groups, it's the Brussels sprout.
And not just food. I took her wallet. She didn't say shit. Took one Brussels sprout. Got stabbed with a fork. It was obscene. You know, it was insanity. So, but no, I'm actually looking forward to it. And I've got this weekend going to Phoenix for a show, which is a one-day thing. But then, of course, staying there for a few days to cause a ruckus and train at the old stomping grounds and whatnot. Nice. May or may not be getting 8 hours of ink done. I don't know. Can't say for sure. But yes, all part of the trip.
I am full of questions about your cigar stuff, Dusty. What's going on with this? Tell us about this cigar podcast I saw. I don't know if you guys saw that story he put up.
No.
Yeah, so as with everything I do, I tend to ease into things and just, wade my way in. So I'm 5 months into smoking cigars, so I decided I need a podcast.
Naturally, yeah.
And so we actually hired a production company to do it right, and it's going to be pretty sick. Basically, the thought process is simple. When I got into cigars, I started looking at podcasts and things, and it's a bunch of obviously experienced people, but they're really proud of, their flavors. Oh, a tinge of huckleberry and there's a little burnt leather. I'm like, fuck you. You don't taste all that shit. It's annoying to me. So what we're doing is Nikki and I are on there as two people that are just kind of beginning, sharing the process. Cause I feel like in all sports and things, like Ron's actually the first to really do it that I've seen, where right when he got back into Flatland, he started posting about it, and putting it out there, where people tend to wait 5 years deep and be experts. And then they're like, oh, yeah, I started doing this, by the way, and I'm phenomenal. So we're kind of sharing the beginning and just kind of the learning process. And then a friend of mine who is Ron's it's not even alter ego. It's like the same person in a different body, Rob, as it would be. I have him on the show because he's actually an expert on cigars and stuff. So that way there is someone who actually knows their ass from a hole in the ground on the show. And then every week we're being a guest. And what we're doing is purposely bringing in people of all different levels of experience, but also all different, professions and financial areas, and kind of showing what it's about. Because that was the cool thing I found with this is you go into a cigar bar, and I've met a lot of cool people. I don't call them friends because I don't like friends. But people I know, and I've met some really cool ass people. And again, it's like, I've met some people who are like very blue collar, and just that's where they put their money. And then people who are very well off, and obviously that's just a tinge of their cash playing in the cigar world. And I actually already locked down a first sponsorship, Scott. So
yes, good job, man.
That's how I do it. Yes. So I got foxcigar.com helping me out, and also giving anybody who, when they go through and buy an order for them, even if it's 2 or 3 sticks, all you got to do is in the comments mention my name, and they'll get a little gift pack sent with it. So whether it's free sticks, free lighters, stuff like that. So pretty cool.
I feel like one of my kids is growing up right before my eyes right now.
It's a magic moment,
I have to say, listen, so there's different arcs that you can use for anything, like we'll say for a podcast. And one of them is, being the expert, and I'm coming to you to disseminate all of this great education. So tune in and get that. But then there's also the arc that is, I'm the newcomer and we are going to learn together. And I think that's a really good route to go. And that's exactly what you're doing. So it's like a perfect setup.
Yeah, it's going to be enjoyable. And it's fun because what we're doing is we review one stick every episode.
Nice.
But it's cool because obviously my review is pretty, I could taste like two things typically, and then you turn over to Rob, and I'm like, oh, well, were we even smoking the same thing?
Yeah.
So pretty cool, but we're enjoying it. It's getting a lot of good feedback already. So, and the big thing, Ron, which you could definitely get, is it's grounding. Like when you're crazy busy with work and everything like that, I imagine it's much like what playing the guitars and the bass do for you. It's like it forces you to slow down because it takes an hour plus to smoke a cigar. And you just kind of end up in the moment. There's been a couple times where I've almost left the cigar bar and forgot my phone there because you're not on it. So you're just like, oh, I got to go. And like, oh, shit, I guess I should probably bring that with me. But it's definitely been helpful because I walk out of there usually with 10,000 ideas to implement, one including starting a new podcast after 5 whole months of experience.
Nice. I love it.
I also enjoy
awesome.
that I've got some haters already. So that's good. I had somebody comment the other day, and I knew I made it because I was shared on a cigar page, and somebody commented, and they were like, they said something to the effect of, I'm a cigar, whatever, somebody that likes cigars. And the guy goes, yeah, for like 2 months. And I was so happy because I'm like, I've made
He already
it.
knows my name.
Yeah.
Yep.
People already hate me. This is fantastic. I'm just getting started. You're going to really hate me soon.
Send me the link to that. And guys, anybody watching right now on YouTube, the link will be below. So after you're done watching this, go click on that.
Awesome. Appreciate you, Scott.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm excited. Dusty even mentioned having me on as a guest, bringing me in as like a total rookie and like smoking my first cigar in a cigar bar, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I was kind of really thinking he would smoke a cigar and then Rob and Ron would just go off on a tangent. Who knows where it would go?
Well, I don't know.
He's so much like you. Like, to give you an idea, we went to so we had a conversation one night, and he likes to feel like he is a bit of a classy individual. Mutant. Yes, that's so beautiful. And so we happened to go to a dinner at a place next day, and we took a picture. There was a king on the wall, right, at this bar. And he goes, oh, King Henry VIII. And I'm like, why do you know that?
That's totally a Ron move right there.
Yeah, like he immediately knew who it was and then broke it down. He's like, oh, yeah, he was known for being a man whore. He had 6 wives. I'm like, why do you know that? That's a Ron thing. Ron probably knows that too. He's like, yeah, 6. The second one was a smoke show. The rest were ugly.
I believe that they now think that he had syphilis, and that's why he was killing off his wives and going insane, was because back then they just thought you were a crazy old king. But now they think that it was probably syphilis, because that's what happens is you just get dementia. Just fucking your brain just eats itself. So yeah.
Nice.
Plus, they were drinking out of lead goblets. So they all would give themselves fucking lead poisoning, and they'd all just fucking lose it. That's why there's so many crazy fucking kings.
You see what's happening right now, Scott, right? I mean,
The more you know.
Of course he knew that. And I was like, yeah, see, like I said, I'm going to put them together. I'm going to get out of the way. And I'm going to be the one collecting the check at the end. So
I got to go fact check everything I just said because I'm not sure. Half of it
someone
might be
watching
Monty
this will.
Python.
Good stuff.
No. You know how it goes. So, Jamie, we have to mention this is your first time back on the show since you signed with Mutant. So welcome to the Mutant team, and Mutant's actually Mutant's actually sponsoring the show now, so we're really happy about that. So
yes, I heard that on a previous episode. That's awesome.
Yeah, but you were already booked. This isn't even a ploy, not even a marketing ploy.
No.
You were already booked anyways. So we're looking forward to Arnold UK. Is that still the plan? 100%.
Yeah, 100%. I'm doing Italy before, though, which is 6 weeks away, and then Arnold is 8.
Nice.
So I'll have a little run out before test the waters.
How long are you going out there for, like to Italy?
Wednesday, come back Monday. Show's on Sunday. So I probably, like you guys, like to get there early-ish, so just to get settled and get the food in, get trained, get the water off, and happy days, yeah.
How far is Italy, like, flight for you?
For me, I think it's like 2-3 hours max. So it's only a short flight.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. Well, I still wouldn't understand people who, they travel out on a Friday and then go straight to registration, sleep and compete. Like, sod that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I always was, if the show was Saturday, Wednesday was the latest I would come in.
Yeah. Plus, for me, obviously, you guys have all been around partners in prep. In the last stages, you're absolutely useless.
Right.
And all you do is annoy each other. So if I could, I'd go on the Monday.
Right.
And I'm sure she'd love it as well. So the Wednesday's a nice meet in the middle thing.
Right. How do you feel?
I always tried to keep it to a minimum. I was never a go Monday guy. That was way too long out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
I was like, can I get there Wednesday night?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Or really early Thursday or something. I don't know. I would always try to push it a bit, but yeah, you need a few days.
I think it's nice to have the home comforts of prep and training and food for as long as possible.
True.
But then you got to find that balance, haven't you, between getting there and thinking, oh shit, I've got here late. Now I'm in a rush and I don't know where food is and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, but to answer your question, prep's going well. It started slow. And I think it was all because it was off the back of, let's rewind to when I met you guys in Ohio in March.
Right.
But at that time I was 343, peak off season, and I felt good. But actually from there, I just fucking fell off a cliff. To the point where when I went to FIBO, I think I was in the 330s, mid 330s, right. But I'd just come off cycle. And Milos said, right, we're doing a lot of shows this year, so, you know, credit to him. We need a minimum of 10 weeks off cycle, which was 250 milligrams of test a week. Mm-hmm. So in today's values, they're like TRT plus, right? This was near enough real TRT for 10 weeks. And I'd never had 10 weeks off cycle for as long as I can remember. It was always 20 weeks, 26 weeks on, 6 weeks off, get blood work check, get back on.
Right.
Just me being honest. So this was the longest period I'd had off. And then at the back end of that, so week 8 to 10, I was in Mexico all inclusive. So I came back 320 pounds, feeling and looking like utter shit.
Right.
That was the start of prep. So it took a while for the drugs to get in the system and for me just to get mentally switched on and get the routine back in order. I'd say it was a bit of a drag for about 6 weeks. And then you start questioning, shit, am I too old for this? Like, have things changed like up here? Have I got what it takes still? And all these questions kind of cascaded from being off fucking cycle.
Right, of course.
But now I'm very confident that this prep, I mean, I was speaking to my training partner today, 6 weeks out from a show. I've never got 6 weeks out from a show and thought, fuck, that's gone really quick. Like I can't even remember prep. It's not dragged at all, apart from that first stage where I was like getting into it. So maybe that's why when I was in, it was easy and it was exciting and enjoyable. But I'm confident that I'm going to bring the best package this year ever. And I know everyone always says that, but I do genuinely believe that. And I was looking forward to going to Vegas because Andrew Jacked is getting a lot of publicity at the minute. And I know when the last time I was in Vegas, I had a photo with him in the airport and it might have been a good angle, but I made him look small. So I wanted to get a retake. We're both in shape, but I don't know whether when we go, he might be doing the Texas show or he'll be there because the Texas is the week before. I'm not sure. I've not double checked, but
yeah, Texas is the week before.
Right, yeah. So we'll get a few cheeky photos of Andrew, and that'll be my way of stirring up a bit of social media kerfuffle because he's obviously doing the Arnolds.
Well, I will be joining you guys in Vegas, but about later on in the week because I actually have to go to the Texas show.
All right,
I've got 3 guys doing it, and then I got to go home for a few days, and then I got to come to Vegas and shoot with you guys. Right. And then I got to come home for a few more days. And then I am going to go to Pittsburgh for the North Americans.
Nice.
Wow.
So I've got a really hectic August, like insane August. And, yeah. And then, so it's going to be crazy, but I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. you know?
Yeah.
So basically,
Sure.
we might miss a few shows, guys. There might be a show in there too that we might not be able to get out.
Well,
Just a heads up. Just a heads up to the
We'll
audience.
do what we can.
you know, of course we will. Of course we
We'll
will.
have to see what's cracking in Vegas. You know, if we got a good apartment, we could always join the podcast with a cigar each. You never know.
Oh,
Yeah.
That'd be
There
perfect.
you go.
That would be amazing. People would love that too.
I'll just be coughing like.
I wanted to ask you, Jamie, what's your favorite social media platform or thing to do on social media? And what's your least favorite that you do because you think it's important? I had a few questions about that.
That's a good question.
Well, I got told by my kids, and Dusty probably second me on this, that Facebook was for old people.
True.
So Instagram is like the one I use, and then Snapchat. I think I'm admitting I'm too old for that.
Likewise.
Plus, I think with the score, the social media is like a full-time job in itself. So I don't know how people manage multiple platforms. And I know Mutant wanted us all to do a big push on TikTok. But at this stage, when I've been using Instagram, I'm so familiar with the platform and how it all works. And even though that fucking changes all the time as well, right?
Right.
You're then being asked to do a completely brand new thing that you haven't got a following and zero engagement. And I think when you've got a platform that is engaging with people, it's almost a turn off when, I don't know, the Instagram's the fresh face one pinter when you just walked in the bar and you can have a good look at the girls and you know what you're looking at. A new platform like TikTok is 10 pints, end of the night, anything fucking goes. You wake up in the morning and shit, what's that? So
I made a bad choice.
yeah, I'm an Instagram person. I mean, I think they're really pushing reels at the minute, so I try and do a few reels. I do like doing stories. I've always done stories. And I don't know if you guys have noticed this as well, but I never, ever had to advertise for coaching at all.
Right.
I just did stories on a morning walk. I got loads of engagement, loads of like inbox messages, whatever, loads of signups. For whatever reason now, I think obviously it's classed as marketing and advertising, and it's leading into our income. So I think Instagram is stopping stories from getting out there unless you're willing to pay them for promotions and advertising yourself. So that's definitely been noticeable. And my story views, if I do too many, just dive off a cliff.
Right.
So I think you got to try and keep genned up with the latest trends. And I think it is reels at the minute. So, I mean, even posts, I would put a physique shot up and I would get between 3,000 and 5,000 likes. Any post that I would put up would get 1,000 likes.
Yep.
And now it's like I put a physique shop and it's getting 700, and I'm thinking, fuck, it's not even at 1,000. That should be like 3 to 5.
Yep.
Nothing's changed apart from whatever Instagram are doing in the background, and we have got no idea or way to stop it.
Yeah, it's a weird. We have this conversation at home all the time because it's like I don't understand what the benefit is. But actually, a friend of mine sent me a clip, and Instagram's taking a big enough hit from people with big followings that they're considering altering some of the stuff they're doing back.
Huh.
Yeah.
Because it's bad enough that a lot of people that I talk to that have a good following, they're looking at going other places, or they're just doing less because it's not, they don't see anything from it. And I mean, at the end of the day, it is enjoyable when you can go back and forth with people. Like, I think sometimes a lot of people, when they're looking at social media, they think it's all like me, and how can I make money? But it is enjoyable to reach across the world and have conversations with people, have a similar, that like the same things and share the same passion and stuff like that. So when you take that away, your engagement goes down because you're like, well, I mean, I used to get on an average, like a video post, 20, 25,000 views. Now I get like 7,000 on the same thing. so it's definitely, it's enough, but I'm happy to hear, because I'll have to send you guys the clip, but it's actually a conversation piece now, because Instagram has taken a hit from the people with big followings. They're like, well, I guess we'll just go somewhere else, because, a lot of them, that's truly 100% their income.
Yeah.
So
well, it seems like
really,
your links that you're putting in the stories as well. If you're, obviously, we've all got codes to allow our following to benefit and get a discount. But if that
round
link,
20.
if you need to help them, but if not, Dusty 20 is probably better. Go ahead.
I'm not doing mine, because people who follow me will love me that much they'll go and find out what it is. Not really.
The high road. It's very English of you.
Yeah. So I think if you put the link in your story post, I think just having that link in there, Instagram associates that link with sales and stops it from getting out to people. So that is then affecting not just us, but our sponsors as well, and potentially our contracts.
Right.
So it's a bit of a minefield at the minute, if I'm honest. But like you said, Dusty, what I enjoy most about Instagram is being able to show people the journey. And I know the journey's like a bit corny, but I've always, for many years anyway, I've always shown people from my worst to my best. And I wish more top level guys would do that, because unfortunately they got to settle for down the rung me doing it. But when the guys at the very top 5, top 10 Olympians, you don't see many of them doing that. And I think the newer ones like Hunter, he does a lot of posts. You see Brandon when he's at Oxygen. But really, in the main, they keep themselves to themselves. And I think as fans of the sport, we would like to see the top guys week to week. But also, and this is a talking point, I noticed Cedric, bless him, in his last year, he started doing it. Yeah. And the negative feedback he was getting, because he wasn't looking his best. But that's why people don't do it, because it is a mental headfuck. To actually put your vulnerabilities out there when you know you don't look your best, to be shot down and not have people think, well, he's putting himself out there. So I've always thought, what's the point in saying anything negative? If you're not got anything good to say, just don't say it.
Well, it's part of the process too, and that's why it's good information to put out there. Because I think that we all train clients as well, and it's something I run into, especially with the younger guys. Because when you're starting out, you're definitely going to get them a little softer than you do now, because it's just like we just need as much muscle as possible. And if the fat lands on you, I'm not really worried about it. And it's a fight that I have on the regular, because they're like, well, the top guys don't do that. And then I'll go show them, old back when everybody was guest posing all the time, Jay and Ronnie pictures. And I'm like, these dudes were bloated out of their mind because they were getting big, but now we don't share it. You just hide, or you let your career take a dip, because financially, if you're not a top 7 guy, it's actually more valuable to look pretty on social media than to gain the 3 extra pounds of muscle you could if you got softer, or like you said, when you're coming off, I do wish that more people would do that, because you're lying to people. I remember the first time it happened to me, I was bodybuilding maybe 4 years, and a guy came over, a friend of my wife's at the time, and I'm in the house and I had my shirt off, whatever. And it was dead off season. I don't even know if I'd ever taken anything yet. So I was soft. And the guy was like, oh, I thought you were a bodybuilder. Because in their head, the average person thinks a bodybuilder's peeled all the time.
Yeah.
I wasn't offended. I just realized he doesn't know that, the majority of our life is this version, and the side they see is the magazine, when you're peeled.
Yeah. I enjoy the game as well. I see social media as a game, especially when you're competing, because I know everyone's so hung up on body weight, right? As a bodybuilder.
Oh yeah.
So I know, let's say I'm 310, but on the post I say 325 and I'm 6 weeks out from a show. Well, they're going to be thinking, shit, I'm like 50 pounds away from that. But also the caveat to that is I know I look my worst on a picture or a video. It's when I look my best in real life. So although the weight is going to immediately probably think, oh, fuck, they're going to think, he still looks like shit. But I know when I stand next to him, it's going to be different again. And I would prefer to look better in person, and people say, oh, fuck, you're bigger in real life than if some of these guys look huge on social media, see them in real life, you're like, Where's the rest of you?
Right. They left it with the filters.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you fit right in at the booth, man. Like, I still remember when you just come on, hung out at the Arnold when, you weren't even signed yet. And, people were just walking up and they're like, oh yeah. Like they were literally saying like, oh, like he's obviously on the team.
Yeah.
Like he's obviously on the team.
It was a good match.
Yeah. But it's the type of thing that, you're right. You have to see like certain big guys in person, like I remember seeing Gunter when he was big, and I mean, I was in my 20s. So I was like, holy fuck, he was just, at 6'2", he was just fucking massive, and, you meet other pros, like the first pro I ever met was Lee Labrada. Right, and I was shocked how small he was. And I was a snot-nosed kid and I still thought he was small. Right. And then of course he took the sweater off and it was fucking crazy. But it's you have that in person, like, when you stand next to guys on stage, you see the frame size difference. So how do you feel you can improve the way you show your physique this year compared to your last showing? What are the improvements going to be?
One of them is practicing how I show my physique. That's a big one. And Milos is a stickler for posing. Some of the voice notes he sent me back to my check-ins are just like comical, ripping me to bits. Jenny, what the fuck is this? But I've got a guy I'm working with for my routine, so that's going to be like nailed on. I've always winged it. And at the end of the day, it's our profession. So routines are routines. I know they're not judged, so people can wing it, okay. But the mandatories is where we're judged. And obviously, we're all different shapes and sizes. We've all got different angles and ways to show off our physique to its best capabilities. It's something I've never, ever put enough time into. So this year I'm working with a guy called Joey Belt from Vegas, actually. Met him in the Dragon's Lair when I was there. He's helping me with some posing. And I'm just drilling every day, morning, post-workout. So I'll be very accomplished at presentation. And I think that will be the best changes I'll make because I'll be able to showcase what I've got a lot better. But not only that, I do believe, and you probably agree, that the more you pose, I think the more detail it can bring out as well.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, you just get so much better at controlling everything. Do you have here's one pose I always liked for a tall guy like you, the 3/4 twisting back double.
You know what? I tried it. I've tried it, but my left arm, I don't think is flexible enough. It's like, doesn't turn out as much as I want it to. So on my latest Instagram reel today, I did one where I kept this back arm straight instead of like, curling down. So you'll have to have a look, see what you think.
Okay, cool. I'll have a look at that. That's a cool shot too.
Remember when Hida used to do that variation from the back?
Yeah, he kind of had that shot too, didn't he? Yeah,
I loved it. I thought it was a great shot.
Yeah,
I like how you go into it. You like kind of swing around and go into it. It looks really good, but then you've got this. I just think it's immobile. This left arm. I need to get my massage guy. He says I just drill it until it starts to move.
Right. You got to rip something loose.
Yeah.
Oh. What about body weight compared to last show?
So I said I came off holiday at 320, and this is a good talking point actually, because I think a lot of people, you're probably in two camps. You've got some guys that drop a ton of weight, and then you've got guys that seem to like hover around and recomp and don't end up dropping a lot of weight at all. And luckily I fit into the second camp because I started my prep at 320. So oh gosh, we're talking like 8 to 10 weeks ago. I forget how long it is now, but I'm 311 this morning.
Right.
So I'm nine pounds down, but just worlds of difference. And I'll probably finish up about 300. Last time I was 295 on stage. And it's not because I'm chasing 300 as that number. I just know in my head, 6 weeks, I'll probably drop a bit. something will go in, we'll recomp, or drop a bit. Something will change, we'll recomp. You know, Milos has got me taking. This is a bit of a secret sauce. We normally take Halo for the last 2 weeks. My protocol, it got Halo for the last 4 weeks. I was like, okay, this is new. We'll see how this pans out. Apart from being just extra angry.
That's the only drug I've ever taken that made me angry as hell.
Keep the driving to a minimum.
Yeah, definitely. I'd have to lock myself in the shed, I think, where I can't do any harm.
Yeah, just try to be a good neighbor. Just a few more weeks.
Yeah,
you know,
there's been times where I've been tested, but we've made it through so far.
How long have you worked with Milos for now?
So, started working with this time in November, but I first worked with him in 2015, and I was like working with him for about 2 years then. So, yeah.
What's that like? What's it like being a client of his? I mean, I've seen, and I'm sure everybody listening has too. He's done a lot of really cool content and helped share a lot of education. I'd be curious to know what it'd be like to be one of his clients.
Yeah, it's good. He's extremely passionate about what he does. Huh. And I think as a client, you know, that's what you want. You want to feel the energy. Yeah. Well, you want to feel that your coach is actually bothered and he gives a shit, and he obviously does. It's quite clear. But with the level of knowledge that he has, and I know people have differences of opinions on certain protocols he would advise, but I think everything's running perfect at the minute. Say that, he's not put me on no carbs yet, and I know it's coming. So,
right.
When that happens, I'll probably say different.
What changes has he made to your training?
Right, so good question, Dusty, because obviously he loves the giant sets. Yeah. And I have a private gym, so I have the ability to do giant sets should I wish. I did giant sets for a large part of my early off season when I was like 340s. Fuck, was that hardcore on the heart. I was breathing out my ass. And I just... Some would say that giant sets would be well suited for prep because the output's up, you know, you probably get in shape quicker. But through training like that and analysing it, I just think it's too much volume to maintain a level of load and intensity.
Agreed.
So what we're doing now, me and my training partner, who's an absolute animal, by the way, I give him a shout out, Swinno, you crazy bastard. He nearly killed me on Saturday doing legs. I didn't know whether to laugh, cry, or punch him.
Hell yeah.
I just smiled. I did something different. So we're kind of just doing a standard style of training in the sense that we'll choose one exercise at a time. But we'll just go heavy, high volume. So there'll be some supersets, there'll be some drop sets. And I like to call it, what's the heavy duty, low volume, high intensity? This is high volume, high intensity. It's just both.
Right.
All of it.
Yeah. All of it. Yeah. Best of both worlds. And I'm training 6 times a week. That's a big change because for the past 2 to 3 years, I've been drilled in that recovery is key and rest days are more as important as training days, blah, blah, blah. But Milos is like, Jamie, what is your profession? This less is more? Bullshit. More is more. 12 sessions a week, 20 years. Look at me. Like, oh, fucking okay. I'll do 6 days, all right? Calm down.
Oh, okay, I'll have an arm day and a hamstring day. There. Yeah.
So I train Monday to Saturday and I have Sundays off. And to be honest with you, it works perfectly. After you get over that mental aspect of training 6 days in a row, I think it's more mental than actually physical.
Right.
That being said, I'm taking my recovery very seriously, and I have got an ice bath. I don't know if you've seen that.
I have seen that. I was aware that you had one. Yes.
Yeah. So this one goes down to 2 degrees. It's got like a thermostat. You can change the temperature. It was set on 5 degrees when I got it. I was fucking cold. So I did some research, and it said between 5 and 15 degrees is optimal for cold shock therapy, because all it does is it drops your core body temperature. So if it's a bit cooler or warmer, you just got to stay in a bit longer. You're going to have to change this to Fahrenheit for the Canadians and Americans, but tap water comes out at like 17 degrees centigrade. So when you think, fuck, that's cold, but 5 degrees, that's a lot fucking colder.
Okay, that's 62 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I put it on 10 degrees, and I was doing 10 minutes at 10 degrees, but then I found, shit, I don't feel like getting the same recovery benefits. So I had to put it back on 5 degrees. But I was in there. Rest days, because it's good before you go to sleep as well, because obviously if you imagine you're putting your body under stress, so then your body comes out of that stress and wants to recover, and it's like it wants to shut down, you go to sleep because I need to repair this, what you've done to me, you asshole. So going in before bed's a good idea. So at 11 p.m. last night, I was in 5 degrees ice bath for 7 minutes before bed.
That's 41 degrees. 5 degrees is 41 Fahrenheit for all of you US guys out there.
Yeah. Is part of the reason, so you're saying it helps you fall asleep. You're saying it's a good time to go to sleep. Is that like partially an adrenaline dump too? Like, do you have a little bit of like a,
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's actually linked to growth hormone release as well. So if you do the ice bath and inject GH, double whammy.
All at once.
I love it.
Like converting your 2 IUs to 10 IUs straight away.
Right. I don't just want bigger muscles. I want my hands to grow. That's how much GH I want.
This is science, people. This is science. Don't judge us.
It's a way of taking more GH like in your head and saving money at the same time.
Just squeezing that pituitary like a sponge, just wringing it out every time. Just
I've actually got an infrared sauna in the garage, which is where the ice bath is. So my plan was to go ice bath and sauna for the cold and the hot. Unfortunately, the sauna's an infrared, so it's got panels at the side and the back. So there's nothing at the front. So you get out that ice bath, you're still freezing, like shivering in the sauna. The sauna's like red hot. So I just go in the shower, and that warms me up after about 10 minutes.
Damn.
It's good. It's good for mentality. That's why I got it, because when I was struggling at the start of prep, I was like, man, I need to sort my head out. And that, facing that, because I was going to do it every morning, and I did do it every morning when I first got it, just for the mental test every day. Because once you've done that, you know, it's easier to get stuff done. Now it's just come down to the rest days, so it's like once a week because I have 1 day off.
Right.
Yeah, so that's a lot better.
It's interesting, the volume you're saying, like, or the amount of training you're doing. It reminds me, it was probably a few years ago now. I had a conversation with Brandon Curry on one of the shows, and you know, he'd always been like really good, but then he got really, really good, you know, and he won the Arnold and won the Olympia. And I asked him, I was like, what was the difference? What changed? And he said, well, you know, I'd always listen to all the podcasts and listen to everybody say that you had to really, less is more, and to do, you know, less, and to make sure your recovery, blah, blah, blah. And then, and he said, and then he started going to oxygen, and he realized that like maybe he's one of those rare people that can do a whole heck of a lot of volume and intensity, and that he can make that work. And that kind of sounds like what I'm hearing from you too, is that you're getting the recovery you need. Like, you're able to do that. It might not work for me, might not work for some people listening, but it sounds like it's working for you.
Yeah, I think we'd all agree there's three main elements to training: load, volume, and intensity. And I think it's just a balancing act between the three. Whatever training style you do, you know, obviously the heavy duty, there's a ton of fucking load. It's just going to create more stress without as much volume, which may require you to have more rest to recover. But again, when you set your split up a certain way, you can actively recover while you train other body parts. There's definitely a way, and I do think mentally, because of the narrative that has been pushed on us with the push-pull legs and less is more, we just naturally fall into that more so than actually feeling out what's best for ourselves sometimes.
Right.
I personally myself was never a fan of push-pull legs.
Yeah.
I just, you know, and like, I'm not a high volume guy, and I just felt like it was not enough volume. You know what I mean? Like, and obviously there's the frequency has increased, but I was never a fan of push pull legs. I know a lot of people loved it for certain reasons, but I needed at least a 4-day, or later on a 5-day,
Yeah.
So,
this is a big
do you
thing
have
for me as well?
is yours a 6-day split? Like, do you have 6 different days and then a rest day?
Yeah. So back Monday, chest Tuesday, it's quads Wednesday, shoulders Thursday, chest again Friday with some arms, and then it's hamstrings on Saturday. And what I'd say is a big thing for me with the push-pull legs was that it was an alternating split. So every week I had a different fucking rest day, which for me is just a nightmare because I can't plan shit. I like to plan. So having a set day split works for me great.
So arms don't even have their own day. There's some chest on that day.
Yeah, but Monday, Tuesday, biceps with back, triceps with chest.
Okay.
So I'm hitting them twice a week.
Okay, so chest and arms twice a week.
Yeah. Because we analysed at the start of this prep, maybe it's because I'm 36 now, but I actually developed, or maybe it's just because I listened to Phil too much, developed some cheeseburger tits. So we needed to train them titties twice a week.
I love that they've got a name.
They're getting there.
Oh man, I don't even know what to say to that.
They're like they've gone from cheeseburger tits to 2% turkey patties. They're not bad.
There you go. That's hilarious. Man.
When you were on your TRT basically for that 10 weeks, what did you alter with your training?
I still try to train 6 times a week. I definitely noticed recovery impact, but that's actually when I think we stopped doing the giant sets and thought we need to just tweak this a little bit. So I think the volume dropped,
right?
And if I did feel trashed, I would just take an extra rest day.
Right.
So some weeks I would train 5 times, not 6. So I think that's the main thing, isn't it? We just got to really monitor recovery more so when we've not got the extra cellular influences.
Well, the reason I brought that up though is because, and I'm curious, all of your guys' feedback with clients. I run into an issue where, so when I was coming up, I had a guy that knew his shit, that was a pro bodybuilder I listened to, and really nothing else. Like, I'd go online, but it was purely for entertainment, and that was it. Nowadays, I have a lot of clients who have way too much information at their fingertips, and they don't know the application to them. So they'll come to me with suggestions, things that they're sure we need to change. And I just had one last week, a longtime client, and it worked out really well because we had a conversation. He was sure that we needed to change the training and this and that. And I said, I think you're training like a pussy.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm sure of it. And he was like, no, it's, trust me. And, we just kept having the conversation. We were on the phone for like 30 minutes, and I don't do phone calls very often.
No, me neither.
And then they sent me some videos, and he, to his credit, immediately was like, I'm training like a bitch.
Huh.
Yep.
And that was the first step. Now, the key here is I don't dismiss what they think, because you can't ignore their body and how they're feeling. But I said, all right, now let's run what you're thinking, which he wanted to go to just a bro split, very basic. I said, cool, let's do that. But I need to keep seeing videos, because I need to see the training like this with that alteration, and we'll decide, because I feel like that's a danger zone, like you said about the balance between the three.
Yeah.
If the intensity is shit, the other two things are almost whatever.
Yeah, I mean nothing. Definitely.
So it's a weird thing that I struggle with online, because it is odd to me. I'll watch videos of any of the top guys that are training, and I'll see someone post a video and tag them, and I'm like, how do you think that looks like the same thing?
I know, yeah.
And I'm not talking about the weight, because I try to drive that home. Like, I don't give a fuck how much weight you're using, but the intensity is not what these guys are doing. And I remember, I'm sure you guys remember this, but Luke went off one time on his show with Fuad, and he's like, we are not doing the same thing, you and I. He meant like to the audience, you know, when we're at the gym. And I thought that was such a strong point. He's leaving. He left us.
Yeah, I can see that though. I like, you notice how Dusty said he was like, and he watched it, you know, we talked, and then he realized that he was training like a bitch, and that was the first step. It's like, that's like Dusty's, you know, the first step to admitting that you train like or what would it be? The first step to fixing it is admit that you train like a bitch.
Right.
Well, you know what it was when we were having the conversation, which was really good. He said, I think we need, you know, the workout's too long. He's like, I'll be 30 minutes into a workout and I'm starting to check out and I'm thinking about leaving. And I'm like, that's your brain, dude. 30 minutes?
Yeah.
No way. Like, you know, and you know me, Ron, like I am a low volume guy, but that's just a decision. Because I think people have to factor in that 30 minutes, how many minutes were you actually under your high loads? 4.5?
Yeah.
5?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's funny because I was talking to one of the guys that I help out at the gym, and I remembered, you know, sometimes when you're talking, you trigger like things that you haven't thought of in a long time. And I remembered the first time, like it was one of the very first times I was at the gym, and I remember the guy spotting me, making me do forced reps.
Right.
Like I was like 14 and I'm training with, you know, these two kids that are like a little bit older than me. And they're like making me do forced reps because they learned off their dads, and their dads did forced reps. And like, you know, you'd lift the bar and drop it on the guy. Like, okay, one more negative. And then like, you know, you'd force a couple reps, and then you'd give him a heavy spot and make him do the negative. Right. And then you'd lift it up and rack it. Yeah. And that was like how we benched. And I was like, at 14, I was taught that right off the bat. Like you bench until you can't, and then your spotter helps you, and then he makes it even worse, and then they rack it.
Yeah.
You know, that was just, so that was translated to everything that we did. And, you know, obviously, you know, I'm not saying it's the optimal way to always train, but at least your default is train fucking hard.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to have that. There's a lot of ways that you can kind of get away with some other stuff if you just train real hard, you know? And obviously there's the best way for you, but you might never totally nail that down. But one thing for sure, you know?
You know what's weird though is I find that people have this, because there's so much information out there and there's so much fear of you know, overtraining or under, you know, there's just so much, like, it's the same thing. Well, you must have this intra workout or your legs will fall off and all this shit. And I always had a weird mentality once I learned how to train, which was I won't know where the line is until I cross it.
Yeah.
Until I do too much and my body tells me, that was too much. Fuck off. Then I'm like, okay, now I know where the line is. I feel like most people never even approach that line. Yeah. And they can't maximize and really figure that out wrong. Because you're right. You do have to, it is what works for you, but you can't know that unless you're training that way. Because to me, intensity is the first of the three. Yeah, and because that's like, to me, the non-negotiable, the intensity should be through the roof. Now we'll decide the frequency and the volume based off of that and how your body responds. But I don't think there's ever a point where I'm like, yeah, no, it's fine. Train at 70% intensity all off season. I'm sure you're going to grow.
Yeah. Milos did say during the 10-week phase, he was very adamant about saying you still train all out. All out means, you know, balls to the wall. And if you fucked, then we rest. But it's balls out.
Yeah.
Question. Because my view is in prep, the goals kind of shift, right? From obviously building muscle to burning fat. One thing I've come across a lot recently is this, we have to preserve muscle in a prep.
That's what the drugs are for.
Obviously, yes. All these grams of tablets and things that we put in our bodies are going to do that for us. So
Right.
work fucking hard. Yeah. And I just think the work rate, and again, the intensity is lacking in a lot of people. And whether it's because there's too much information out there again, I like the old saying, paralysis by analysis. You got the client's head just spinning around like fucking something out Total Recall. I just think it's been lost. I mean, I do the Stairmaster post-workout, 20 minutes. People are messaging me saying, aren't your legs going to fade away?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, because I got a gram of tren in one and a gram of each in the other. Not really, by the way, not really. But you get my point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The training, the training really, really hard. I remember one thing Jay Cutler said once. He said, no matter how low his carbs were, he always went to the gym to train to get bigger.
Right.
Yeah.
And so he said that was always his, like, okay, I'm here to get bigger.
Right.
And that would be what he would tell himself, like walking out onto the floor. Like, I'm training to get bigger. Like, that's the only reason I'm here. And it could be like, 2 weeks out, but he still went in with that mentality, So, that's important. And, keeping also, I always felt like you got to train real fucking hard, because that's how you get that post-workout calorie burn that sticks around for like 36 hours,
Yeah.
and you want to kick that fucker, you want to get like everything out of it. You want to demand recovery of your body is essentially how I sort of thought of it, like I'll get leaner sleeping if I train real hard today.
Yeah. I tell my clients, you gotta earn your food. You gotta earn the right to eat. I can't even begin to think what I'd feel like if I had a shit session. I'm 6 weeks out, post-workout, eating nice big bowl of oats, because that's what I like to eat post-workout now. I'd feel like, I don't know, I'd feel like I robbed someone. Like, I shouldn't be eating this. I'm not allowed. But the intensity is definitely lacking in the kind of modern day social media bodybuilding world. And I think it is because of social media. But that being said, what I find hard to believe is, why is intensity lacking when there's so much content out there, so many crazy people doing training videos, showing people intensity?
Mm-hmm. I feel like that is a common line. I literally just over the weekend, I put up an extra Q&A for fun. And what you said, Jamie, was actually asked. He said, if I train legs on Saturday, should I skip cardio on Sunday so I don't break down the legs? And he wasn't like, he was just asking. And it's like, no, because, the way I looked at it was really simple. And I think it's how I look at everything in life. I would much rather find out that I did too much chasing a goal than not enough.
Yeah.
I would hate for somebody to say, man, if you just did a little more, you'd have won, versus, hey, next time cut it back a hair.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you feel like shit during prep no matter what, as far as the diet and the cardio and the energy. So I always felt like, well, I don't feel better. It's the same thing as like if you have if you randomly have a cheeseburger that you weren't told you could have, you don't even feel better. It's 5 minutes or less of flavor.
Yeah.
And you still feel like shit. So why? It just never made sense to me to leave anything on the table, because, and particularly if you're really serious about this, I find that most of us kind of get off on it. Like I used to like being at the very end and hitting numbers, and even your training partners are looking at you like there's something wrong with you. Like, how can you do that right now? It's just because I think Ron nailed something the other day that I'd love to talk about with you, Jamie. He talked about people worry so much about their pre-workout drink, their powder, more than their pre-workout routine to get mentally in that place, for the workout. What are your thoughts on that? I'm not hammering the new age of bodybuilding, but just in general with people, since supplements and pre-workouts have become so important. Have you seen a little of that?
Yeah, I think people are over-reliant on supplements and other things. I mean, I have to admit, I do like a coffee before I train. That's probably a large placebo effect, but the core motivation to train is still there. What I find in prep, I don't know if you guys are the same. I go through prep, as I get leaner towards the end, my training time will become earlier in the day.
Yeah.
Because I'll just want to get it done and then eat and rest and do whatever for the rest of the day. Having the anxiety of thinking about that session till meal 4, if I can do it at meal 2, I'm going to do meal 2. Now, people who haven't got the ability to do that, if they got like set jobs, then they're fucking been working all day, they're tired, but that's when they need a solid goal in place, because that goal needs to be bigger than feeling tired and knowing you got to go home and prep your meals and this and that. We've all done it. People think we're lucky, but they forget that we forged this path through hard work, through motivation. I've done night shifts in the fire service, and I used to run up and down the stairs in the fire station for my cardio.
Yeah.
At 6 o'clock in the morning, when we got to sleep at work and everybody else was asleep, I used to wake up and run up and down the fucking stairs. So there's things that I've done that other people weren't prepared to do. But like you said, Dusty, those things for us, it's a little switch, it's a challenge. And I've adopted the Hunter Labrada win the day, but I've kind of put a little twist on it that you win the hard days. Because the easy days don't really count. Right? We can all do the easy days, but the hard days, when we do the cardio after legs, when we get through the leg session, when we're on 0 grams of carbs and we're 2 weeks out, winning those hard days is the things that normal people can't do, and the ones that get on stage and they're not in shape and they come 6th place, or, that's the things we kind of get off on. And it is a bit weird, but that's what makes us good at what we do at the same time.
Right. I love the tie, and Rob Bailey talks about that, where every morning he likes to get on his treadmill and I set up something that's going to be brutally hard to do. And he said he'll literally be screaming at the treadmill, like, fuck you, you know what I mean? Because he's so pissed that he set himself. But when he gets done, he's like, I woke up this morning, slayed a dragon, and now my day is ready. And it's almost like, and I totally understood it because he applies obviously to business and things, but it is the same, which is, well, now what can't I do? If the first thing I did was torture myself with something I didn't want to do, but chose to do it anyways, and made it as hard as humanly possible, got it done, then the rest of the day you almost feel bad for, because it's like, I'm going to kick the shit out of this day.
See, it's stories like that, Dusty, that make me feel terrible about my morning. I sit down, my girlfriend hands me a cup of coffee this morning. Like, here's coffee. And I'm like, oh, this is, thank you. I open my laptop, check my email. There's like,
whoa, you had to open your own laptop? We got to talk to her.
I do. I try to, continue to do most of the tasks. I do a lot of my own stunts around the house.
That's great.
So yeah, I feel bad about that now. I'm not out slaying dragons.
Yeah, well, you might have slayed some in your sleep. Who knows?
Maybe. I don't know.
But you're also the late guy. I always laugh because you'll love this, Jamie. Ron will send texts that are late his time, which puts them like 4 a.m. our time. Yeah. And like I'll see it come through, and I get up in the morning, and I'm like, Ron was still up and like cranking at 1 a.m. Well, so
that's why
I always love when people do
for me.
It's the hardcore. That's why I love that people think it's hardcore to like wake up early or like stay up late. I'm like, it doesn't matter. It just matters what you get done while you're awake.
I do sleep a lot less now. Like I used to always, when I was big, I would sleep, 8 to 10 hours every single night, or I'd sleep 8 hours and take an hour nap. But now I sleep like 7 hours. Maybe I get like 20-minute nap. So it's like, it's enough that I notice it. I definitely don't sleep as much as I used to. So, but I'm busier.
True.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
His body's smaller and his wallet's bigger. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, hey, if you're gonna get smaller, you want some to get bigger.
There you
go. What's Jamie doing now at this point of the how normal are you now? Like, are you still watching the same amount of television, or are you like watching way more now because you're prep brain,
No.
or way less? Or you're starting to buy stuff on Amazon every fucking day? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, did you buy a new car yet
I'm
this
not-
prep?
Not yet. No, not yet. I bought a new car in February, so I can't get rid of it. although I did go to the BMW shop, whatever it's bloody called, and I saw an X6M, and I was like, "Oh, that's nice." People have been telling me I need a bigger car. The M3 is quite small.
Did you have them run the numbers?
No, I didn't even dare. I didn't dare ask.
Don't go back for 9 weeks. That's a little protective measure for you right now.
to be fair, the spending has calmed down because I listened to an audio book that my mate kept badgering me about. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Obviously, he's teaching me about money and how to manage money and understanding money a lot better. And it made a lot of sense. So I'm now considering, and Dusty, I know you're big into business, so you know exactly what I'm saying, but I'm now considering what assets I've got, what liabilities I've got, and I've realised I've got far too many liabilities and not enough assets.
That's a beautiful thing when you figure that one out.
Yeah, so the spending's calmed down, and I have actually the spending's been calmed down on certain fronts, and I know Ron will agree with me on this one. I've been pumping a little bit of money into crypto. So
It's a good time too.
Yeah, the markets are low, so I've been spreading a bit across and doing a lot of reading on YouTube, and not reading, bloody listening to videos, just on financial stuff, and listening to all these leading financial people in the world. Just getting motivation from them. There's always something in prep, isn't there, that you tend to go to and watch.
Yeah,
It's been food videos, like Paul Hollywood's got a great series where he travels the world, all food places. It's like prep porn.
Right.
Well, at the minute it's financial stuff, so it's really good to do something different and interesting. But I find that I am a daytime person. I train, come around this time, 6 o'clock, I can be dead man walking. Like, that's me done for the day. I'm done. I got no concentration, no kind of attention span. Like watching TV with the missus is I just annoy her because I'm like. So I come in here. I've got the PS5.
Right.
I bought a game called Final Fantasy. It's like a game that I've played for like years since I was a young kid.
Yeah.
And that keeps my attention for a little bit, but even that I can play for an hour, and I'm like, oh god, I'm just bored. I can't wait to start the next day.
Right.
And that's what stage that where you want to
carbs in meal one.
Finish your meals, get to bed, and start the next day. That's where I'm at. And
nice.
Well, I feel good. I'm enjoying prep, and I'm definitely not dragging my arse around. It's just, I think, probably a mental thing that once I've done the training, you kind of breathe a sigh of relief that that's another day ticked off. You just want to start the next.
I had a few questions here for you. I'm going to go back to the well here. What is different about life with a better sponsor versus a not as good sponsor?
The best sponsor.
Well,
it's kind of how I'm rewording their question because it wasn't as friendly.
Right. Okay. I can imagine.
It sounds like they've had, their own bad experiences or whatever.
Yeah.
So
wouldn't be surprised. Well, I was actually thinking about this.
Let's tell bad stories. Tell some bad stories is what I'm asking.
You quickly realize when you have Mutant, you will second and third this whenever Scott's tasted any of the ISO Surge or the aminos.
I haven't in a long time.
What I've found over the years is because obviously the price of raw materials has gone up.
Yeah. People
are trying to save money and keep their profit margins big. And you do find that a lot of the products out there now just taste chemically. Like they got some weird taste to them and they just taste off. I'm not just saying this I'm sponsored because like I say, you're second and third this, but the products on Mutant taste the best I've ever tasted, like products. The ISO Surge, I'm not really a fan of strawberry protein, but that strawberry whey I'm like, oh God. Katie, you stay there, darling. I'm taking this over sex any day.
That's funny.
At the minute. But no, I've really liked the flavorings. That goes for the aminos and everything as well. So the quality comes through in the taste. I think that's a dead giveaway when something's been cheapened down with the Chinese hair scrapings or sweepings, whatever you want to put in your amino acids these days.
Bird feathers.
Yeah. But it's nice to work for a company that have a solid infrastructure as well. You know, buddy George, bless him, sorts out the trips and the invoicing. And when we go to places like FIBO and we're going to Vegas, you just know that you're going to be looked after, pointed in the right direction, fed, watered, bed to sleep in, flights sorted. Yeah, it's a nice experience all round.
How does that sort of stability help with your mentality going into the show?
It's very helpful because, I mean, you know that you've got a company that is wanting you to do as best as you can as an athlete, not just wanting their kind of 2 cents from you and sticking you on a stand and making you kind of earn the money that way. And one of the big things that stuck with me early on was when I was at FIBO, George said to me, Jamie, we're coming to the Arnolds, but you're competing. You do what you can. That means you can't come on a stand. You can't come on a stand. Just don't worry about it. Concentrate on the show. And that was a massive thing because it is a stressful time, isn't it? When you're in prep, you're those last few days out, you're thinking, I just need to rest now and get ready for the show. And the thought of standing up on your feet for fucking 6 hours is quite daunting. That's why I've never understood why they do the Olympia meet and greet the night before the Olympia. It just seems mad. But obviously it's for reasons, obviously for fans and whatever else. I'm going to put into the big boys at the top, do it the day after, the morning after. But going back to that, it puts you at ease. Puts you at ease a lot. It's a solid company. It's been around for ages. I can't wait to come to Canada to have a look around and meet Jim's new robot.
Yeah.
The T1000 plus 24.
Come up and see the AI.
Yes. I need to train at your gym.
Yes, they've talked about getting you up to my gym for sure. Yeah.
We got a solid team. I mean, you guys have been with Mutant for a long time, so you're more versed to answer the question of how good a brand they are, I guess. But I can only say good things.
You know, I was going to tell you, Jamie, that happened to me one year. I was dieting. Ron may not remember this part, but I was dieting, and I went to FIBO, and I want to say I was about 6 weeks out from a show. We go to FIBO, and on the way back, I'm flying through Chicago, then to Phoenix, and I hit the ground in Chicago, and my flight's delayed. And it's late at night, right? So I'm like, all right, whatever. I go eat a meal, find a place to just sit down and eat the meal. I eat the meal, and now my flight's canceled. And it's like 1 a.m. My flight's canceled. And I glance and I just see the line of everybody trying to figure out their flight information. And I was like, son of a bitch, here we go.
Yeah.
And I go to walk down there, and also my phone rings. And I look down. I don't recognize the number, but I'm like, I'll pick it up. I answer the phone. And it was actually the lady who does the flights for Mutant. What's her name, Ron? Do you remember?
Tammy.
She calls me and says, hey, Dusty, your flight just got canceled. This is your new flight information. Go downstairs. You're going to exit out the front. There's going to be a guy waiting for you. He's taking you to your hotel. You're going to have about 6 hours to sleep, and then he's going to pick you up in the morning and take you back. And
Dude,
I was
that's
like,
so cool.
Yeah.
Holy shit. I mean, all the stress that was accumulating as I walked toward this line was immediately gone. I literally walked downstairs with a guy standing there with a sign, got in the car, went to the hotel, slept, came back the next morning, and it was seamless. And I'm just like, okay, I would have been there for 2+ hours just working that out. And then it would have been a question mark of what flight was available because so many flights were canceled. I had the first flight out the next day. It was seamless. I just remember I was like, okay, this is another level.
Yeah,
you know. So definitely that's a little weight off.
And I think you can only get that with a company that's got experience and time behind them, because that's the kind of shit these new companies have to find out. And unfortunately, when you're an athlete with a newer company, you find out.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
It's a breath of fresh air as a, I would say older bodybuilder now at 36 that
finally getting some goddamn respect.
Yeah, landed on my feet. Cheers, Ron. Thanks, Jim.
No, it's how does it also help you? And this isn't about Mutant. This is just about accumulating sponsors. You think certain sponsors aren't going to align with other sponsors and stuff. So obviously it's good to be with kind of a hardcore brand, because there's certain other brands that would align well with that. Does that play on your mind when you market yourself?
Yeah, I mean, obviously when I met you at the Arnolds, I went back and spoke to the missus at night time. I remember speaking to her, and I said to her, I says, Mutant and the Giant, it's got a good feel.
Right.
It goes well together. But like you say, when you potentially meet other sponsors, well, Jamie's with a solid company. It definitely raises the respect and the confidence that they have in you.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think, obviously I've not competed with Mutant yet, so I think a lot of exposure will come from this next however many weeks. I mean, The plan is to do as many shows as I can, which will lead me up to the last show of the year, which is Romania in November. So that's the plan in principle. We all know these things can change. And then obviously the Olympics in December. But we all know as athletes, when you're competing, when you're in shape, it's a great time to get yourself out there and get exposure for not just myself, but for the brand as well. Yeah. And that's where you get eyes of other people, other sponsors. So I think that's all yet to kind of come.
Have you started shooting with Rebecca Andrews yet?
Not yet. Thursday.
So yes. Rebecca Andrews is doing a, what is it, 6-part, 5-part? I can't remember.
5 or 6, yeah, for the Arnolds, isn't it?
Yeah. She's doing like a prep series on Jamie.
Oh, that'll be.
I love her work. Her work is so awesome.
Yeah. She's wicked.
So, and as far as I know, they just sort of told her to just make it.
Yeah, she's well up for it. She's been messing me some ideas. She's
not
asking
going to like
straight away
it or anything.
No,
she what?
She's asking me straight away, Jamie, do you go in the ice bath on training days? I was like, no, Rebecca, we'll save that one for next time. I'll show you where it is.
Yeah.
Here's
you got a cool
bath.
house in there. Yeah. Give him a tour.
Yeah,
you got to give us a tour.
Introduce the dog, Come on now.
Yeah.
Oh, the dogs are incredible.
Yeah, everyone loves the dogs.
Yeah.
Of course.
Do you get the big guy, little dog thing when you walk your dogs? People crack jokes about that.
Yeah, but they probably say it to themselves. Not a lot of people say it to my face.
Well, I'm definitely losing some size then, because I get the odd person to say it to me. They're like, "Oh, for a big guy like you and a little dog." Yeah. So I usually say, "Well, hey, I can only afford so much food." That's what I say,
I used to always say, if you need a big dog to protect you, that's your business, but I can handle myself.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, Jamie, thanks for coming on the show, man. We appreciate your time.
Pleasure.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a lot of fun seeing you in Vegas.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see how you look, because I know you're coming in quick.
Well, Andrew, you better be scared. I'm telling you.
We'll have some fun. I told
Bring
Flex
extra rough
Lewis,
Brussels sprouts.
I told Flex Lewis we were coming. We're all going to film at the Dragon's Lair.
Nice.
And he's excited about it. So
awesome.
It's going to be a good time. So we'll
doubt.
see you there soon. And then I get to see you again at the Arnold
Yes.
UK at the end of September.
Yes. I think I will most likely come on the stand on the Friday because the show's on the Sunday.
Right.
So if I do the Friday and then I'll rest on the Saturday and show you what I'm made of on the Sunday.
There you go. Dusty, are you coming to that?
I think so, but nothing. I mean,
Okay.
you know how it works. We get all pinned in. But yeah, I can now. They're not against me for not being jabbed, so we're good to go.
Oh,
right. Okay. Sounds good. Okay, Jamie, thanks. Remember, everybody, like, share, subscribe, comment, and
Ring the bell.
Jamie the Giant, follow him on, what is it? AKA the
AKA
Giant?
the Giant. Not Aka the Giant, as people think.
Yeah, some people don't get that, eh?
Hey, Aka. Yeah, AKA, also known as the Giant.
They haven't watched enough 80s gangster movies.
Yeah, it's obvious.
You know? Saying, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Jamie.
Awesome, guys. Thank you very much.
Okay,
See you later.
cheers.